Meanwhile, back in the village, the two UUs, the brave child, and the family gathered around the fire. One stirred the water. Another added branches to the fire. And the villagers started to become curious about the fire and the large pot in the middle of their village. They started peeking from their homes at the fire.
Of course, said one of the UUs, stone soup is always better with some salt and pepper. Yes, said another, as they continued to stir the pot of water and the stone, but we don't have any.
I have some, said one of the villagers, and away she went, coming back soon with salt and pepper. And if someone sees some other spices can come forward too. Oh, I think it's okay. One of the UUs tasted the soup and said, "Not bad, but the last time we had stone soup, we added some carrots. And that gave it such a nice color and a sweet taste." "Carrots," said a person in the crowd. "I think I have a few to spare." Soon she approached the pot with an armful of carrots. "Do you think it would be better with onions?" asked the other UU. "I'm sure I have some," said another villager. And soon he returned with several large onions. That soup is beginning to smell very good," said a villager. Many of them nodded in agreement.
And then something wonderful happened. Without the UU saying another word, villagers disappeared and then came back with their favorite ingredients for soup. There was, what is that? There was tomatoes and garlic. There were, what do you have there, ma'am? There were mushrooms. And probably some cabbage mixed in there. She just doesn't know it. Oh, there's cabbage somewhere else. There were eggs? All right, there were eggs. And noodles. And there comes the cabbage. Or maybe okra or kale or who knows. This is magical soup after all. It was magical as each, keep adding it, I think we just saw some beets and we have more spices, a chicken. I'm pretty sure the chicken was already parboiled and oh my goodness, it was magical. As each villager opened their cupboards, their refrigerators, and their hearts to give, the next person gave even more. And soon the soup smelled and looked rich and delicious.
There's some bowls. At last it was ready, and the whole village gathered around to share the feast. A feast that also included some home-baked bread, tea, and hot cocoa, and several sweet treats for dessert.
I think that's your bread. Why are the villagers so shy?
After they were full of the delicious meal, they told stories and sang songs and laughed together well into the evening. As the evening drew to an end, they unlocked their doors. There we go. You can't see Elizabeth, but she
has a handful of soup. It really had been a long time since they hosted a party.
I don't even know where the chicken came from.
Did you finish your part? Okay.
Just letting it. All right, and the party started to end. They cleaned up by putting everything back in the bowl. Not the fire, though. The fire can stay where it is. And then the village went to sleep. They laid on the floor, and they were so very cozy and tired.
All right, that's great, guys.
They invited the three UUs to spend the night in their homes. Giving each a comfortable bed. Go find your beds to sleep in.
The next morning, the village seemed much brighter and much warmer as all the villagers gathered to say goodbye to the two UUs. Thank you for having us as your guests, said the two UUs. You are the most generous group of people.
Thank you, said the villagers. You gave us a gift. You showed us how happy and rich we can be when we all share with one another. And to think, said the UUs, to be happy is as simple as making stone soup. You may take a bow or a curtsy or whatever you'd like to do.
Caitlin?
They're doing a good job cleaning up.
We can clean up more later.
All set. Good morning. My name is Caitlin McDonald. I use she, her pronouns. When I think about what FUSF means to me and what FUSF gives to my family that I can get nowhere else, I think about safe spaces. I'd like to point out a few very specific safe spaces. Here on this chancel, my child Lily, who is very reserved, feels safe singing. In the cookroom, my child Violet, who identifies as non-binary, feels safe sharing their pronouns. During choir rehearsal, in those chairs right over there, my child Riley, who is neurodivergent, feels safe fidgeting and taking movement breaks. I feel safe having a good cry over there In those chairs, when I am touched by a message during service or going through a rough patch. And in the Dana room, where I meet with leaders and members of the congregation, I feel safe to make mistakes and to share crazy ideas. These safe spaces are why I give generously to FUSF. Someone out there in our greater community is looking for a safe space just like this. Your gift of treasure could change everything for that someone. In order to continue the work of FUSF, I invite you to make a contribution this morning. You can do this electronically by going to the FUSF website and clicking Give, which will bring up the Tidely app. Alternatively, you could send a check in the mail to the FUSF treasurer at the Meeting House address. For those of you in the sanctuary, you can add your contribution as the offering plates are passed. Thank you for your generosity. This morning's offering will now be received.
There are many versions of the story that you just witnessed. What I especially like about the version that Sarah found and we adapted slightly was the focus on interdependence and generosity leading to happiness, leading to a more engaged and welcoming citizens of a community. Very Unitarian Universalist and very focused on beloved community. I fear that we may very well find ourselves in the coming weeks and months and 4 years in need of reminders of how important beloved communities such as this one here that you are all a part of, how important they are in our lives. So, without further ado, I want to invite Kathy and Drew to come forward and explain how we're going to spend the next 10 to 15 minutes. And children, we need you to also be engaged in this activity that we're about to do, okay? Because we need all the voices, all the voices.
Okay, so those of you who didn't get a chance to come up and act, this is your chance to be involved. And those of you who were wonderful, and I'm sure we're going to get many nominations for awards for the wonderful stone soup. So, as Rev Bev has said, we know that this is a time in which we feel the need to come together and to see in what ways we can share and support other people. And we know, because we're members of this congregation, that we live in a world of interconnections, where our actions impact others and shape their behavior, and vice versa, where what other people do with us and for us can help us be a different person. When we are generous, and when others are generous to us. We would like you today to break into some small groups and to reflect on generosity, to think about the times when others put stones or important ingredients in your soup, and when you did the reverse, when you were able to give to others ingredients that they needed to be whole and to be able to live in the world and be those kinds of individuals who can share themselves. So we want you to think about, because you're UU individuals, we're members of the UU Church, how that generosity happens here and how what we do here allows us to be generous in the community. So we're going to ask you to break into small groups. Kathy will give you the directions for us to think about the ways in which we are generous to each other.
Thanks, Drew. Yes, if you would just make a small group with the people who are seated near you, maybe up to 10 people. Each group is going to receive a basket that has, just hold 1 second, a basket that has colorful ribbons, and also some fabric markers in the basket. Also instructions of questions we'd like you to consider. And if you are so moved to write a...
This is really important. Hold on, please. Okay, wait 1 second. We have something special to talk about here. Tell them about your tree.
You may have noticed in the foyer, although I've been surprised that some people have said to me, "What tree?" There's been a tree in the foyer since last Sunday. Pretty bare of branches right now, although a few people have added their gratitude ribbons to the tree. If you are so moved to write something on one of the ribbons, we invite you after service to attach your ribbon to the tree, which is in the corner of the foyer, and to continue in thinking this way through the coming months. If there's something in particular that you feel grateful for, that you would like to attach to the tree, a basket of ribbons and markers will always be by the tree. If you are on Zoom and you are not able to write a ribbon but would like to have a ribbon attached to the tree, you can email office@FUSF and we will make sure your ribbon gets attached to the tree as well. So talk away, write away. If you need help with anything, we're here to help. Who needs a basket?
If you need a basket, raise your hand.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for doing this little activity. It seems like you were all pretty engaged in this. We would ask that you put your chairs back in some reasonable order. Drew and I will come around and collect the baskets that are maybe empty. Please feel free once the service has ended, because this is not the end of the service yet. But when you go out into the foyer for Fellowship Cafe, you'll be able to add your ribbon to the tree. Anything else I should say?
No, I'll get them going.
Okay.
So we are going to close our worship in the way that we always do. I invite you to grab your hymnal if it's still somewhere near you. Our final hymn is number 1012. Is that correct? Thank you. Our final hymn is our hymn of the month, number 1012, When I Am Frightened. Please rise as you are able. May we each, in the days to come, find ways to be generous, to spread happiness, and in the spirit of gratitude, remember to appreciate all that we receive. Please join in our farewell song. The words are, "Carry the flame of peace and love until we meet again." And I invite you to sing this to one another. Laura's coming. Laura's coming. We extinguish the flame in our chalice, but not what it represents. The light of reason, the warmth of community, and the fire of commitment. These we carry with us as we go out into the world. Our worship has ended. our service to a world who needs all of our voices continues on. My friends, go with love, go in peace, and go and add your ribbon of gratitude to the tree in the foyer.